going to call it, if we are going to.
Greg, you're going to have to let me know when we're on because I don't see the monitor today.
Is this to be magnifying this room?
Yeah, you just know. It doesn't magnify in this room. It just puts you on the tape magnet. We're on the air.
Can you
Good evening from PAP, Public Access Poetry. Tonight our first reader is Nancy Ancrum. Nancy has done a number of translations from Spanish. She has a list of many, many published poems in small press magazines such as Out There, Contact 2, The Nation. She has a book that will be published sometime in 1978 by Seagull Publications. And we now look forward to listening to Nancy Ancrum.
As I turn into my block, a fair straight ahead. At the same time, the moon, an old act. Some guys were sitting on the steps, looking thin, flat, completely round. So along came two old guys. I'm waiting for someone, I say. I am looking, thin, flat, round, several times. Is one of the guys on the steps. Then Peter's friend takes him by the arm. I go upstairs and feel red veins all over his face. I say, I am looking. Then Peter's friend, straight ahead. Good night, several times. Whiskey bottles standing there is full of tears, red veins all over his face, white foam. I say good night, several times. Who is a drummer is one, takes him by the arm, coming out his mouth, off all the heads of men, flaming sword, standing there. As I turn into my block, the moon, just about every day, two old guys, red veins all over his face, white foam coming out his mouth. I say I was looking several times. I go upstairs and feel. I say lurches, flaming sword, talks foolish, now coming to an end. His son, who is a drummer. I go upstairs and feel the moon, the lights, the fair straight ahead. He asks, I say, whiskey bottles would be left, so I practically falls, coming out his mouth. I say, then wish some guys were sitting on the steps, thin, flat, completely round, lights of a fair straight ahead, flaming sword, turns out, practically falls, red veins, I say, is one, all the heads, just about every day, standing there. This one's called Sketch for a Dream. It's about Garcia Lorca's stay in New York. Garcia Lorca, bandaged in clouds, returns to the USA, floats with green chickens on the Hudson, flies with feathers from the window. How many times he roamed the whispered righteousness of Whitman's dream, his aching thighs spun out on the hills. We peck in substance until in its dark case light appears. We don't see the city. Our eye caught in light, we see brighter and brighter the adventure of our whiteness, while Lorca lifts the hem of his gabardines. This is a translation of a poem by Neruda, one of his early love poems. It starts out, A vastidad de pinos. Through the huge wall of pines, the murmur of breaking waves, light slowly crosses the plain. Shadows fall from your eyes. You are the conch in which the world sings. Rivers sing in you, and I sink in them. Wherever you want, I go. The arch of your hope is my path. Deliriously you release my flock of arrows. I am adrift in the fog that encircles you. Your silence persecutes my hours, and it is in your arms of lucent stone that my kisses are anchored and my moist desire dwells. Your mysterious voice that makes love doubles itself as evening comes on. Just so, grains of wheat have been seen to double in the mouth of the wind. Alicia de la Rocha has 7 joints on each finger. They reach from Spain to New York, spine messengers of what was written of Defaria, seeds of what will be when the artist is believed in her own day, when a girl like Keats doesn't get in trouble, and the wings of Chagall are not dipped in mud. Because of his angel cloud, the castle literally disappears, because people walk on the ground floor. This one's called the Brooklyn Museum. A wonderful ordeal going to the Brooklyn Museum. The mass of it, storm clouds shoving each other around its corners, names of ancients, Muhammad, Kalidasa. Inside you bow to this solid stuff. Africans eyeing me. In just about every case, a wise marvel. A fellow the size of a frog rises out of a water lily. Its petals peel back like a banana skin. A shrunken head reminds you, but of what? Feathers birds let drop, gathered into headgear. Wooden whales that flap their fins, moccasins to tiptoe in. Just what is a totem pole? These wonders hold. Their message is well said. We all leave Brooklyn with a shrunken head. This is a poem called Frank O'Hara. It's a short poem about a New York poet that died in the 60s. Thinking no help comes out, no help. Beneath the page, white, hairy skin, blue veins, trembling hands. Those were exalted days when Socrates slept all night with a man who loved him, but kept him from him to teach him something. And this one's called Planetarium Reading. I recommend to you the Hall of the Sun, illuminated beach ball, lights of many colors, facts on oil depletion and the power of the sun. One thing I learned, lightning is a certain ray for turning things around. But I can't take you inside the dome room to hear Siv Settering-Fox read in Swedish American gleanings from her study of astronomy, while they illustrate above poems. Copernicus was worried about telling what he knew. I am too. Kepler's mother arrested for a witch. Whitman, read by Galway Connell, brought the moon to battlefields. So small, so inside is our world, that in our chest is the curve where stars silently go on. Since I can't lay my finger on you, I whisper in the ether, good and night. And this is a sonnet called Hudson River Rocks. I didn't want to break them and take them from their shelf along the shore, but even more, I wanted you to have one, a pebble broad and flat, exploding in roving colors like a canvas or a dome where God taps Adam's hand. A restless reconnoiter of the river's bank sets in, feet beneath the water, hands along the land. The perfect rock is hiding, or we hold it in our hand. Duke Ellington's playing here, his body's gone, plays fragmented suite. Piano and bass speak of something we only hear about. Sound seems to be in the sky. A soft finger pumps the brain electricity, elasticity to reach for the whole note. Here we hear fragmented suite. I hear, you say, we play, you stray, to say, here, we hear, fragmented sweet. Oh, stay to hear me say, I say, we play, oh, hear and stay, this play is here. We hear and play, fragmented sweet. This one is another sonnet called Flying with the Poet, and it's a reference to what if Emily Dickinson could take a jet plane. Because of a porthole effect, she would make a frigate. Great swooping and hovering birds would come to her mind, chariots aimed at eternity, attendants tending anxious souls. A meal is a last communion. How though to say what was heaven before, to strap in for the ultimate, 40,000 feet above the transient. Cloud banks shown by silent lightning, cities like galaxies pointing away, visions of saints for the common man, since a sparrow obstructed her path. Palmettos break, squeal, wind makes them wash their dry hands, waters take the bay, all creeks fill with fingers, all moon to sway. Sand, crabs, eyes from the hole, logs logged with salt water, and oaks trail moss, lips the air, slip shining magnolia leaves, dense blossoms swoon, its thick white smell, marsh life of mud, gulls, turtles, rays, oysters, owls, all sleep on the coast, all coast into sleep. This one's called Astrology. My father stands at the gate of the 7th house, trying to prevent happy marriage. Your mother lives in the 5th, abbreviating your romance. Couched together in the 2nd, I try to hold on to myself. You hide your exalted love in the tomb of the 12th. 2 pinpricks felt as one, Mars and Jupiter destroy my home. You are given mine to see through the waters. I am led by illusion to God. High where the sun should be, Pluto kills me where I'm buried. Our Neptunes balance in earth and air. People are glad my Venus rises and caution you on trips. Death is nothing, I learn in the 8th, and Saturn tells you the same thing. You know you'll be a great teacher, and I that my throat will sing. And I'll close with a Christmas poem. Christmas, you came back, trailing your velvet cloak, your golden nests and spheres. All the stars are colors, the quilt is snow. Knowledge falls in diamonds, the wind is wrapped in fur. Christ is smiling, friends are warm and rich. Plums are on the avenue, ripe birds settle in the light. On far and icy paths of space are births that glow. Lovers blaze in revolution, their souls knit in air. A pearl in the world's ocean, the babe looks through the veil.
That's Nancy Ancrum. Our next guest is David Gitin, who's come to visit us from California. He has a number of books out, Guitar Against the Wall, City Air, and I believe the latest is Legwork. Is that the latest? And hopefully he's going to read to us from one, wall, whatever. David Gitin.
I'll begin with some poems from Legwork. The Janitor. All that strives, the ash outside the door, the big tree in front of my house cut down, roots exposed, clutch stones for balance. Friends, forms of friendship, love that powers blood, shadows I bring to others, the promise, thick smoke curling in air. Up against the wall. He does not know the room, expecting another, confused by the door, pain in the warp of past responsibilities. Speak of the sea, unbounded stir of waves upon the shore, becoming a place, returned to the city, the drifting line of the horizon, the door. Meadowlark. Through the smoke, trees, exported for timber cities, a paper world, toppled in the stream like flesh. Edge of the roof, joined by 3 birds, wind chimes. Dance, dance, to see you are spinning, for there is a pillar of salt, evidence of ache etched upon the sky, roots of my eyes, the crust of pain or joy, desire, the sun, the moon, refrain to death, fierce meadowlark. March winds. No robin at hand, but a western meadowlark in the clump of weeds to be our garden. I burn the trash, the match set carefully, the pack exploded Friday when the poet said, Faust. Cosmic circuit in black letters on the desk, a list of little magazines, fringe of new consciousness, the modern utopian, screw, speaking of herbs, artery, the space heater, red bands glowing on the porch, Maria inside with the rainbow, distracted from the virus our pills and diet fail to cure. And what of this interlude before I read the torn packet of poems sent by the girl from England, the scientific American, and whatever else keeps me from the bills, the tedium? A kiss on the nose, Maria off to bed with her nightly, who knows, nobody. The dark, absolute night. What do I see there? The moon, blackness, myself staring back in the window. I do not fear the unknown, unknowing, but for shadows I name, captive to the vanity I diffuse, so many stars give audience. Books I turn to again to read what? A nest of ninnies, technicians of the sacred, these titles, or the white goddess, epitaphs of our times, gringos and other stories, outside islands of self, challenged, or at once someone else, object of my own attentions, beloved husband to that love another proffers, never to be inside more skins than one, the pupil of the third eye found wanting. I want, knowing what I need to know, subject to the unrelenting surge of oneself who knows, nobody. And the last poem I'll read from this book is a short one called Country Plea. 63 Dodge truck into dusty village, 1 bar, 2 stores, the bar opens early. The rest of the poems will be from a book called City Air. Music for Zen meditation. Eucalyptus outside, sunlight plays on the floor. Yesterday's papers, the hookah, motes of dust, a flute, sudden green of Betty's blouse. For Carl Ricosi. Out in the open air, silence, I think to call, recall from dream, chimera, the shimmer of light where the black top appears to end, curves to continue. Fairfax for Claudia. The hills are clumps of broccoli, or a bison's shaggy hump sprawled. The animal lifts itself quaking, resettles terrain, houses flip away, toothpicks off Gulliver. Orange, root-like madrone trees crook smooth fingers at the sky. The earth oozes plaster relief, a movie of Rio de Janeiro, abstractions I toy with as my cock presses to be 16, discover a world. I would sit in the yard, a child face to the ground, watching the lawn move. Grasshoppers, ants, bees, and wasps, each with its rhythm. Irises, flamboyant as grandma's apron, fade when picked and die. A curse, the mystery demanded of life to pursue generation. I stumble down a hill, a shortcut, no trespassing, and enter the house, annoyed at noise, at fences divorced from the hill, soaked in talk, structures, rude music, conversations of waste. Who are we? American, ex-European animals with electric hives and arrogance, geo to helio to ego-centric universe. The yellow cab streaks under the street light, skids to a stop midway down the block. A man, hunched in the door, it is raining, looks back once and disappears into the fog. The next poem is actually a group of short related song fragments. So the title of the poem is Song Cycle for Maria. Jet exhaust, sunset, overlooking the stadium, grilled windows, hint of childhood scratches. Wise men mounted in a boat, the mast gone. My name is Edward, he said, TV flickering between the words. Blue, white, pajamas, match, book and pipe, clock, the stillness blurred. Lightnin' takes me, where staircases dance, the front hall twists, the attic friendly as the coal bin, and I know loss, fast train of boyhood. Bar mitzvah, manhood, portion of two dreams, its character fugitive, without vowels. The power, symmetry I could not declare outside of love. Red piano, smoke, an idea of ocean lights. Roots, twisting, to be discovered, lovered. Maria, an arm across the tides. A ghost in blue. An uncloseted broom lifts dust from grandpa's mantle, traces the bronze animal of childhood. Pores open as adventure connects shadows. A bookcase and piano stand luminous, allied to compromise pain, the daily encounter. Vanity parades visions, dwarfed in the cool tyranny of my father's stare. Images fuzz and fade into X-ray gray, disconnected dots. Morning leaps into the room. My wife sighs and turns. The witch of dreams slides beneath the door. Topor's Oedipus. Master the riddle and walk it on a leash, or does it lead you past any notion of mastery, teased by purposeless form, meandering perfection, the ghost of an idea? Winter night. The TV shines, a tooth, In the house dark beyond the street light, the dull white snow. Red taillights, passing cars, North Star there among the weeds. Letter. All shapes, cities of the mind never disappear, but recombine. Language, a logic of intensities these fingers punch, typing of vanity, jarring what thought might gather of silence, of air. Night birth. An echo, nightmares gallop to a spray of nerves, bliss, burned eyes crave darkness, graveyard, hours pocketed, a wage, caffeine rinses memory, canoe in demon mists, outrigger to terror, sunlight, my catch ripples into deeper recess. Apostleship of the sea. Apostleship of the sea, concrete trunk freeways and the Bay Bridge, Orton Machine Company, do not enter. I sit in a parked Chevrolet. Man in a green suit walks by. Wrong way. I can almost see the water. Obsession. I could not speak, having spoken so much, aimlessly. Philip standing where I once stood, Plaza de Solitude, writing, doing, what now becomes my wish, my fear, one too many phantoms or less pompously, in love with indifference, where words intrude, guitar, chords, a note or two on flute. Growth, an idea, cancer. B speaks of suicide, a point flanked by coves, scavenger birds. The sun paints the sky until it is no more, white fog.
It's David Gitin, and I think I have time to say have a Merry Christmas and good night. Do I have more time than that? I have time to say have a Merry Christmas, good night, and early have a Merry New Year, whatever. Have more time than that.